Hi, my name is Michael Rubino, indoor air quality expert. This video is going to break down how you don't need $1 million to breathe clean air. I'm going to tell you some budget-friendly hacks to improve the quality of air indoors so that you and your family can be breathing better right now. Step 1, open windows. It is completely free to open windows, and when you open windows, you're diluting the amount of particles that you're breathing in every time you breathe 20,000 times per day. The only caveat here is you have to worry about how's the outside humidity during the time that you're opening windows. Am I allowing too much humidity to come in? Obviously, if it's raining outside, you don't want to be opening windows, right? Thinking about it from this perspective of having some humidity come into the house for a few hours is not the end of the world, right? You can close windows later on. You can get the humidity down just naturally using your AC system, or you can put a dehumidifier on if you really spike the humidity too high. But you have about a 24 to 48 hour window of humidity when that comes into play. So that means you need 60% relative humidity or more for 24 to 48 straight hours for something like mold to begin to grow. So do not fret over opening doors and windows to let fresh air in. Just keeping that in mind, you can control the humidity, and you want to have that fresh air in, especially if you think that you might have an issue with mold or bacteria in your home. The second thing that you could do and should do is clean your house more regularly, and what you clean with really matters. I want to break this down for a second. So if you have mold in your house, let's say it's behind a wall because you have a leaking window. That mold that's colonized in that wall is going to produce particles. It's going to produce gases. Those particles and those gases are going to go from behind the wall to in front of the wall. And what's going to happen is it's going to become part of your dust where you're going to be breathing that in. It is going to impact the quality of air that you're breathing. But I think the kicker here is it's going to become part of your dust. Your dust is not just going to be your dead hair and skin cells. It's going to be your dead hair and skin cells mixed with some mold, mixed with some bacteria, mixed with some virus particles, all these different things that are already in your environment. Your dust is a culmination of everything. Think about it from this perspective. There's nothing you can do to eliminate particles in your environment. The goal is to control it. And how do we control it? Well, ventilation, as I mentioned in step 1, and step 2, cleaning the home, removing these particles from our environment regularly. If I go weeks or months without cleaning my home, I'm going to increase the amount of particles that are going to enter my body every time I breathe 20,000 times per day. So I want you to think about this honestly. Are you cleaning your home frequently enough? What you clean with, I think, is also extremely important and something I want to talk about here because this is such an important step, as you can tell. If you're cleaning with chemicals like bleach, for example, you're doing more harm than good. Not only you now are breathing in these chemicals that are off-gassing, right? But you have certain living organisms that might get upset using certain harsh chemicals. For example, if I'm cleaning mold with bleach, I would be concerned about mold as a self-defense mechanism, the toxins that it can produce. Now I'm worried about mold obviously getting upset, activating its self-defense mechanisms, producing a toxin called mycotoxins. Depending on the species of mold, there are different toxins that mold can produce. And now I'm inhaling the chemical off-gassing, the potential mycotoxins, and the mold, and all the other things that are already in my environment, right? And so the goal is to use more botanical solutions. Again, we don't have to break the bank here. I mean, you can make your own if you want. I mean, people are using thieves oil and water, grapeseed oil and water, thyme oil and water. I mean, there are so many different essential oils that work really well as natural cleaning solutions, as natural disinfectants that you can use that are safe for you to be breathing in, right? I think in those situations, we want to look at what products can I use in my house that doesn't have a warning label on it that tells me I need to ventilate my entire space just to use it, which, by the way, that is on the bleach bottle. And how can I use safer alternative products that when I clean with might smell pleasant, but it's a smell from an oil that is all natural, or it's effective at removing these particles like bacteria and viruses and mold, but it's doing it in a safe way that isn't going to trigger self-defense mechanisms that could cause mold, bacteria, et cetera, from start producing toxins like endotoxins or exotoxins, for example, right? And so I think these are things that we want to look at in terms of how do I clean my home effectively, but also safely. If I use a weed killer in my lawn, right? Products that are designed to destroy, kill weeds, obliterate weeds, right? What's going to happen? That weed is going to shrivel up and it's going to be left in my front lawn, right? Well, think about it from this perspective. Everything that you use in your house that's designed to kill, destroy, obliterate, they're just shriveling up particles. And those shriveled up particles are still entering your body 20,000 times per day. That's the truth that nobody wants to tell you about. Think about it from this perspective. You're always gonna be breathing in something, right? If we are looking at killing, destroying, obliterating, etc. But if we focus on removing, that means I'm wiping it away, I'm throwing it in the garbage, that garbage is leaving my house. Guess what? It's no longer in my environment. So I want you to reframe your mind and I want you to focus on removing things, not killing, destroying, etc., etc. So hopefully that long response for step 2 is really valuable for you. Step 3, clean your HVAC system regularly, change your filters regularly, and if you can, if this is part of the budget, which I'm gonna urge you that you start making small, simple steps towards improving your budget to increase your air quality potential. And the reason being is because I think it's gonna save you money everywhere else. All the supplements you're buying, all these things that you're trying that aren't working to create this optimal health. I think as you start to pivot some of those budgets towards clean air, you might actually get the outcome you're looking for without spending the money in other areas. Now, with that being said, cleaning your HVAC system, having as good of an HVAC filter that you possibly can, these two things, they go hand in hand. I'll explain why in a second. You need to have both of those things as another important step. Now, the nice thing about it is you don't have to clean your HVAC system every week like you really do need to clean your house every week. The HVAC system over time, all it does is it draws air in, it conditions that air, it supplies it back out, right? It's all it does. It's a vacuum, sucks air in, conditions it, provides it at the right temperature, puts it back out. With that being said, in the summertime when I have the AC running, you might notice that AC systems have a drip pan, they've got drain lines, they take water away from the house. Well, how's that water generated? Well, during the summertime when the AC is running, it's actually pulling moisture out of the air. That moisture is running down the coils into the drip pan and it's draining away from the house. So you might notice that the AC system does lower the humidity inside the house. It's one of the things that it does only when the AC is running. Now, with that being said, it's really important that you understand because it's an environment that can get wet, when you have particles like bacteria, when you have particles like mold, when you have particles like viruses that bypass this system, bypass the filtration system and get to this coil, that's where you could start to see microbial growth. You know, think about things in life. What do we need? We need water. Like everyone, water comes to mind. You know, obviously human beings, we need air, right? That's the most important thing. But second thing that comes to mind is water, right? Not much on planet Earth can live without water. When it comes to microbes like mold and bacteria, same thing. Those spores, the bacteria spores, the mold spores, when they meet with a surface, if there's not moisture, it's not going to germinate and grow. With that being said, because that AC system in the summertime has a lot of moisture, it's a pretty good spot for mold and bacteria to grow and thrive. Now, the real issue with that for us is this system provides airways across every room in our house. So if I have mold and bacteria growing in the HVAC system, basically turns the HVAC system into like a microbial factory where it's just spewing out mold, bacteria, etc. across the entire landscape of the house. That could be pretty problematic if my goal is to breathe cleaner air and have better health. This is something that is going to cause detriment to me, right? So what I'm gonna wanna do is over time, knowing that these particles draw into the system, meet with this wet material, and start to grow and feed off of the dust that's already naturally passing into the system, we've got a little bit of an issue. Now, this isn't something that happens like in a day. This is something that slowly starts to happen over time. And obviously, AC has to be running. So if you live in a place like Florida, AC is running 75% of the year, 80% of the year, guess what? Probably gonna have a lot more opportunity for this to grow. You live in a climate like the Northeast where you've got 3 summer months out of the year, 4 summer months out of the year. That's when it's really gonna be growing. We'll talk about the dangers of when the summer converts into winter. I feel like this could be a super long video, but the reality of the situation is when that's growing in the system, it's polluting our air. So if you haven't cleaned your HVAC system in 5 years, I'm gonna tell you, over 5 years, you've had probably a lot of mold, a lot of bacteria growing in that system over time, and you need to clean the coil, the blower wheel, like the cabinet itself, the ductwork. And I would do so with a National Air Duct Cleaning Association certified contractor. Now, here's where the filter comes into play. Filters have different MERV ratings. The MERV rating basically tells you how small of a particle can it filter out at what efficiency. Now, the higher the efficiency, the better. The smaller the particle, the better. There's obviously a science to this because if you block too much particulate matter in one pleated filter device, right, you're gonna actually restrict a lot of airflow, which could also cause a problem to the HVAC unit. So there's a science. My favorite filter is a MERV 16 filter, causes the pressure drop of a MERV 8. So it's obviously got some decent engineering to it. You want something like that that's gonna filter out small particles but still allow air to pass through, right? And so there will require some ingenuity in terms of engineering. You wanna find the best product for you. The reason that you'd wanna upgrade your filter is because you're allowing particles to pass through less frequently. Well, the less frequently particles pass through, the less contaminated the system's gonna get over time. All right, step 4, air filtration. You and I, we filter our water, we need to filter our air too. And I think that's a really important point. If I'm filtering my air through like air purification devices, and I want to talk a little bit about that as well, guess what? That's less particles for me to be breathing in. Guess what? That's less cleaning I have to worry about. This kind of like ties in with the HVAC system. The more filtration I have, the less frequently I have to clean. Well, if I have air purifiers constantly taking particles out of the air, right, then there's gonna be less particles falling on the floor. Obviously, it's not gonna eliminate all particles from falling on the floor, but it's gonna reduce the amount of particles falling on the floor, which means, you know what, instead of my cleaning person, or maybe I'm the cleaning person and I'm taking a little bit of a hiatus this week, guess what? I could go a little bit longer. Maybe I clean every 10 days instead of 7 days. I can give myself a little more grace, right? I think looking at it from this perspective of trying to reduce the amount of particles you're breathing in, air purification systems are great. Now, if I've got a massive mold problem in my bedroom, plugging in an air purifier in the bedroom might not be enough to keep up with the mold problem, right? And so we don't want to look at it as the holy grail solution, okay? But I think it's really, really valuable to filter your air just like you would filter your water, right? And so here's the thing about air purifiers. There are ones that are like $10,000. They're like MERV 19, they're amazing, lovely pieces of equipment, right? That's not something that everybody needs to have in their house to be able to breathe clean air, right? Actually, some of my favorite air purifiers are $100 or less. And what you want to look for in buying an air purifier, same thing about the filtration system for the HVAC. How small of a particle can it remove at what efficiency, right? You want to be aiming somewhere 0.1 microns or smaller in terms of the capability of it to remove these particles. And you really want to look at it at like 95% efficiency or better, right? So that means 95% of the time, a 0.1 micron size particle enters into that unit. 95% of the time, it's trapping in the filter. Only 5% of the time is it passing through, right? And so that's how that works. If you go and you can look at Amazon, you can look at things with that little lens, I think is gonna be a helpful lens for you to say, how can I get the best air purifier for as little investment as possible? There you go. I'd rather you buy 5 air purifiers at $100 that is just gonna do its job and filter as much air as possible in your place, than you get one amazing air purifier for $500. You'll see, as you start to feel better, as things start to make more sense by improving the quality of air you're breathing, you'll be able to shift some budgetary constraints around to ensure that you're investing in clean air. And by investing in clean air, The outcome, you're feeling better, you're sleeping better, all these things that are, all these symptoms that you would have never guessed that were due to you breathing in mold or breathing in bacteria or all these other things that might be in your environment are improving. And that's what we're seeing for thousands and thousands of people, right? It's like these miraculous stories of transformation from, you know, really, really sick people to just, I'm sleeping better than I ever have before, right? And so I think there's victories that come out of this that allow you to consciously make that effort to shift your budget around. And then, just like anything else, you can start to take things a step further. And of course, I have videos for you that can help you take this as far as you want to go. Thank you so much for watching this video. I know it was long. I hope it was packed with information. Please, if you resonated with anything that I said, if you found this valuable, please like, share, comment, drive up that engagement. You know, I'm on this mission to make sure that people have access to clean air. And I think so many people have no idea that clean air could be a solution to their problem. And so help me spread that word. Thank you so much.